Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Let's look at things today. It's the 20th. So we have a moon sign in Scorpio, a sun sign in Pisces. So let's take a look at these. Just Pisces. Pisces is represented by the tarot card of the moon. Has to do with faith. Okay, in this card you see a creature that's coming out of the water, evolving, and it's about evolution, the process of evolution that occurs as we have faith in life that everything evolves. Here we have two pillars which represent the known, and beyond them is the unknown. So as we evolve through life, we move through what we know into what we don't know, and so faith is required. It's the most important thing there. And here we have Scorpio. This is teaching us the lessons of life and death. The letter Noon on there has to do with the meaning of fish. This card has to do with a seed, planting a seed grows. So it's not the idea of something dying, but the idea of death, the ending of one phase, the beginning of another one. If we just get past the words, we realize that life continues to go on in all different forms. So when we look at this, we've got a moon sign, which is Scorpio, dealing with the ideas of emotions, these lessons of, that the card of death teaches us to look at life as a continuous process that goes on and on, continually seeding itself. The sun sign Pisces tells us that we need to not allow our emotions to push us around, because we have a lot of emotions today. We have a water for a sun sign and a water for a moon sign, so it's a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings. Those feelings can push you all over the place. This afternoon we have a trine between Scorpio, the moon sign, and Jupiter, which means an expansion of all of these. This is later this afternoon, 5:27 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, our numerology for today. Let's take a look at that while we're here. Okay, we've got a 2 plus a 2, 0. So we got a 4 for today, and we know that the year is a 7, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. So we add the 7 and 4 together, that's an 11, a master number. Some might stop there, or some reduce the 1 and 1 to a 2. So we have an 11 or a 2 or an 11. So let's take a look at those numbers here. 2 is the card that deals with the High Priestess, or the tarot card of the High Priestess. The planet is the moon, the astrological sign. 2's sensitive, tactful, diplomatic, cooperative, peacemakers, loving, studious, patient, may express musical or feminine qualities, tend to be sensual and intuitive. Negative are discontent, spoiled or lazy, careless, particularly with the truth, but when criticized, they're false or oversensitive. If we go from here to the 11, 11 is the most intuitive of all the numbers, instinctual, charismatic, dynamic, capable. When its sights are set on a concrete goal, the 11 is the number associated with faith and psychics. It's interesting that talked about faith already today. So here we go, faith and psychics, synchronicity. The 11 can be anxious, shy, stressed, conflicted, and scattered. When focused is not applied towards a goal, the 11 can be extremely self-sabotaging. As a master number, the positive characteristics will turn into obstacles when not understood or used properly. And it's a tarot card of justice. It's all about karmic balance. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with today. Our moon phase at the moment, we could see, is a waning moon making its way back down to the new moon. This week here tonight, as dawn breaks, Friday morning the 21st, spot the waning moon in the south with the Saturn off to its left. Off to the right are Mars and Spica, so let's take a look what we'll see. Right here is 20th. Okay, so that's what we're looking at as we look into the sky tonight, looking southwest. Moon, Mars, Spica. Okay, moving from here. Mayan Oracle read a 9-tone day, which is called the solar tone of intention. Kin for today is the Skywalker. Guide is the moon, so it's the solar Skywalker guided by the moon. Skywalker is exploration. The moon is purification. So the intention of exploration guided by purification. Here, the like-minded power today is death, learning that lesson of life and death. In synchronicity with the tarot card of death, the same lesson about the seed, life continues on. Challenge for today is the night, our dreams in abundance, really allowing them to manifest. Hidden power is our ability to shine brightly, star within each one of us. Here we are in the wave spell. We can see our position, so we're making it through the theme of our life force energy. The phrase for today is I pulsed in order to explore realizing wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of universal water. And we can see that we are 2 more days of this galactic activation portal, so it's been 8 in a row, counting today. Space weather, we got hit by another CME. Second time in 24 hours it says Earth got hit by a CME. Right now our solar wind is currently at 568.3 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index is up there in the 6 range, so we're in the midst of a storm as we speak. Our coronal holes kind of disappeared. We got a few little minor ones, nothing in comparison to what we did have, those large ones. And our geomagnetic X-storm activity is down low. M-class flares 30, can jump up to 35. X-class is low as well. Alright, that kind of gets us started with what's going on with the energy for today. UFO news is up next, so let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
Alright, Dirk, thank you very much. Today, first story takes us to Argentina. It says a UFO over Lake Munsters, Argentina. The current urban drought, a result of supply restrictions aimed at recovering reserves, as well as accidental pipe leakage, leads us to pay close attention to Lake Munsters and examine any particulars concerning water, volume, evaporation, flow, and distribution to one of the country's most complex aqueduct systems. The beautiful lake and its surroundings have become the focus of attention, but this time on account of a strange, unidentified flying object. This alleged UFO appears in the sights of the 2 photographers' camera. An avid observer of the Patagonian landscape and quick to capture its natural beauty, he was startled to look through his viewfinder to find an odd object suspended in the air, looking quite different from the clouds or accidental solar reflections. The photograph was taken Monday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon when several young people in Sarmiento were enjoying a warm afternoon at the lake's edge. A relaxed afternoon that ended almost abruptly upon seeing the recorded image, desiring to download it to a unit with a wider screen to see exactly what it was. While efforts at taking a second photo were made shortly after the first, when the photographer tried to focus on the strange object, it was no longer in the area. That is to say, suspended over Cerro Silva and seen from the southern sector of the lake to the northeast, or even more graphically, from the fishing club's beach area towards the water supply that fills our blessed and ancient aqueduct. It should be added that while the faithful and clear photos. This one had not been taken in recent years. Many residents of Sacramento have seen large objects over the lake moving at unusually high speeds, although generally at night, according to the reports. Okay, got a report there. Let's move on from there. This one goes to Yucatan, Mexico. A putative UFO was recorded on video on the 11th. The videographer adds that this was recorded at 2200 hours on that day, adding, "I'm not saying it's a spaceship, but it is an unidentified flying object." The video, 1 minute 30 seconds long, shows a light in the sky whose trajectory eliminates the likelihood of being an airplane as it comes and goes. The sighting took place over Los Alamitos Park in Ciudad Cosel. The videographer's attention was drawn to the shining object, and he decided to record it on his tablet. Here we have a link here if you want to watch the whole video. Let's check it out. Here we go. Just a short video, 1 minute and 31 seconds long. So the object's in question. There it is. You see it flying right there. Okay. Alright, moving on. This one's going to take us up to the ISS on the 19th yesterday. Object in question. There it is again. I saw this in live cam today, and the glowing object came out from nowhere, then disappeared behind the ISS. The sighting lasted for over 10 minutes. But when it went behind the ISS, I stopped recording because it took 3 minutes before it reappeared. Too slow to be the moon. A few minutes later, it reappeared from behind the ISS and descended downward. The UFO looks to be a triangle in shape, but it's hard to make out. This could be the moon, since the ISS orbits Earth every 90 minutes, but I do believe the moon would pass so slowly, but would be much faster than this object. The object seems to linger near the ISS, but we need to consider all possibilities. Feel free to use this video on your own channel. I made it, and it's for the world. There we go. Very nice image there. Again, just like Scott, you can put on the NASA channel, watch these things, and catch them as they go. You'd be surprised what you catch when you watch TV, the live television feeds, right? Okay, it certainly doesn't look like the moon, but as he says, we just need to consider all possibilities until we can rule them out. Moving on. This one is large sphere UFO, then military chopper, followed by black object. Soon after I filmed this object, this large sphere, one military chopper appeared, slowed down the video. I saw some black object appear above the chopper, changed in direction, it disappeared under high speed. Okay, so there it was just the other day. Okay, there's our object, and then we're going to have a black helicopter momentarily. Okay, let's jump ahead, see if we can find this helicopter in here. Black object, I don't see it yet. Interesting looking object though. Here we go, here's our helicopter. Coming on in. Wants to investigate what's going on. Okay, so obviously someone's trying to find out something about what's going on here, and the helicopter's just imagine they're flying around, and there's something up above this here too. You see it? A black object. It's funny, you know, they must from their ship they must look and think how primitive the technology we use is when they're flying around in their ships. Okay, moving from there, the video starts off with the same decent high-powered shots of the moon. About 1 minute 30 seconds mark the scans over the pulsating color. This was shot in the United Kingdom. Okay. This has some good shots here of stuff going across the moon. I think I showed you this one the other day. This is just another bit on it. And you can certainly see the objects there. Alright, very interesting. Alright, and last story, let's move on from here. Extraterrestrials sans UFOs. The nearly 70-year mystery of UFOs has still not been solved or revealed in any satisfactory sense. That UFO ET experiencers both inside and outside the national security state, the former being whistleblowers, have not produced a solution to this most aggravating and persistent of daily phenomena, weighs hard on reason. How is it such a thing possible? Is it because they, the aliens, are so far advanced of us that they don't have to worry about the sentient apes penetrating their systems? Is it because intelligence agencies throughout the world are supremely competent in keeping secrets? Or is it possibly because the aliens that really matter are so far ahead of human notions of auto-transportation that they don't even use the UFOs? Although we can't seem to fathom how ET might establish a presence in our solar system without UFOs, recent thinking has considered the possibility in terms of interdimensional travel, various quantum and string theory-based possibilities. It should not surprise us if beings a billion years or more advanced than us transport themselves in some way other than auto-propelled carriages. Good question. Good question. And there's a lot of information here. A lot of stuff to read. All right. But we're going to leave it there. Good questions, though. How do aliens get here? Are they all coming from the same place? Do they all fly the same type of crafts when they fly around? Or do they travel in other ways? The answers to all of these questions are known by lots of people. You know, if you just think inside, you understand, you remember, right? Okay, that's our UFO news. Let me jump away. I got some more stories. I'll be back. Don't go anywhere.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Great Spirit, send down your love, send down your love.
So, this story here is, I don't know if it's meant to be a funny story. It's kind of silly, though. This just goes to show what excess can do. Here's a 1% jokes and plutocrats in drag. What I saw when I crashed a Wall Street secret society. Recently, our nation's financial chieftains have been feeling a little unloved. Venture capitalists are comparing the persecution of the rich to the plight of the Jews at Kristallnich. Wall Street titans are saying that they're sick of being beaten up, and this week, a billionaire investor, Wilbur Ross, proclaimed that the 1% is being picked on for political reasons. Ross's statement seemed particularly odd because 2 years ago I met Ross at an event that might single-handedly explain why the rest of the country still hates financial tycoons. The annual black tie induction ceremony of a secret Wall Street fraternity called Kappa Beta Phi. Good evening, exalted High Council, former Grand Swipes in waiting, fellow Wall Street Kappas from the Spring Street and Montgomery Street chapters, and worthless neophytes. It was January 2012, and Ross, wearing a tuxedo and purple velvet moccasins embroidered with the fraternity's Greek letters, was standing at the dais of the St. Regis Hotel ballroom, welcoming a crowd of 200 wealthy and famous Wall Street figures to the Kappa Beta Phi dinner. Ross, the leader or grand swipe of the fraternity, was preparing to invite 21 new members, neophytes, as the group called them, to join his exclusive ranks. Looking up at him from the elegant dinner of rack of lamb and foie gras were many of the most famous investors in the world, including executives from nearly every too-big-to-fail bank, private equity megafirm, and major hedge fund. AIG CEO Bob Bemoshi was there, as were Wall Street super lawyer Marty Lipton and Ellen Ace Greenberg, the former chairman of Bear Stearns, and these were just returning members. Among the neophytes were hedge fund billionaires and major Obama donor Mark Larcy and Joe Reese, a high-ranking dealmaker at Credit Suisse. And we got a link here. You see the full list of all the members. All told, enough wealth and power was concentrated in the St. Regis that night that if you dropped the bomb on the roof, global finances as we know it might have ceased. During his introductory remarks, Ross spoke for several minutes about the legend of Kappa Beta Phi, how it had been started in 1929 by 4 C+ William and Mary students, how its crest depicting a macho right hand in the proper Savile Row suit and Turnbull and Asir shirtless was superior to that of its namesake, Phi Beta Kappa. Ross called Phi Beta Kappa's rough-sleeved logo a tacit confection of homosexuality, and that's how the fraternity's motto, Dum Viamados Edimus et Brumis, was Latin for, while we live, we eat and drink. On cue, the financiers shouted out the thundering bellow, Dum Vimas Edis et Birmis. All right. The only person not saying the chant with Ross was me, a journalist who had sneaked into the event, who was hiding out in the table in the back corner in a rented tuxedo. I heard whisperings about the existence of Kappa Beta Phi, whose members include both incredibly successful financiers, including Michael Bernberg, former Goldman Sachs chairman John Whitehead, hedge fund billionaire Paul Tudor Jones, and incredibly unsuccessful ones, Lehman Brothers CEO Dick Fuld, Bear Stearns CEO Jimmy Kane, former New Jersey governor, and MF Global flameout John Corzione. It was a secret fraternity founded at the beginning of the Great Depression that functioned as a sort of 1%er friars club. Each year, the group's dinners, comedy skits, musical acts, and drag, and off-colored jokes, and its group's privacy mantra is, what happens at the St. Regis stays at the St. Regis. For 8 decades it worked. No outsider in living memory had witnessed the entire proceedings firsthand. I wanted to break the streak for several reasons. As part of my research on my book, Young Money, I've been investigating the lives of young Wall Street bankers, the 22 years toiling at the bottom of the financial sector's food chain. I knew what made these people tick, but in my career as a financial journalist, one question that proved stubbornly elusive was what happened to Wall Streeters as they climbed the ladder to adulthood. Whenever I interviewed CEOs and chairmen at big Wall Street firms, they were always too guarded, too on message, and wrapped in media relations armor to reveal anything interesting about the psychology of the ultra-wealthy. But if I could somehow see these barons in their natural environment, with their defenses down, I might be able to understand what world my young subjects were stepping into. So when I learned that the Kappa Beta were being held, I need to try to go. Getting in was shockingly easy. A brisk walk past the sign-in desk, and I was inside. Cocktail hour. Immediately, I saw faces I recognized from the papers. I picked up an event program, and I saw there were older, bold-faced names in the Kappa Beta Phi membership roll. Among them, then Citigroup CEO Vikram Pandit, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, Home Depot billionaire Ken Langone, Morgan Stanley bigwig Glenn Fleming, and J.P. Morgan Vice Chairman Jimmy Lee. Any way you count, this was one of the most powerful groups of business executives in the world. Since I was a good 20 years younger than any in attendance, I suspect that anyone taking note of my presence assumed I was a waiter. I hadn't counted on getting to the Kappa Beta Phi dinner. Now that I had gotten past security, I wasn't sure what to do. I wanted to avoid rousing suspicion. I knew that talking to people would get me outed in short order. So I did the next best thing, slouched against a wall on the far side of the room and pretended to tap out emails on my phone. After cocktail hour, the new inductees, all of whom were required to dress in leotards and gold sequined skirts with costume wigs, began their variety show acts among the night's lowlights. And it said Paul Quealy, a private equity executive with Welsh Carson Anderson, and told off-color jokes to Ted Virtue, another private equity bigwig with Mid-Ocean Partners. The jokes ranged from unfunny and sexist. What's the biggest difference between Hillary Clinton and a catfish? One has whiskers and stinks, and the other is a fish. Too unfunny and homophobic. Okay, anyway, there's more and more down here, and so they're telling all these bad off-color jokes, and on and on. And then later on, something starts to happen. It says the neophytes who had changed from their drag outfits into Mormon missionary costumes broke into the musical finale, a parody version of I Believe, the hit ballad from the Book of Mormon with customized lyrics like I believe that God has a plan for us all. I believe my plan involves a 7-figure bonus. Amused, I pulled up my phone and began recording the proceedings on video. Wrong move. Who the hell are you? Novogratz demanded. I felt my pulse spike. I was tempted to make a run for it. Due to the ethics code of the New York Times, my then employer, I had no choice but to out myself. I'm a reporter, I said. Novogratz stood up from the table. You're not allowed to be here, he said. I, too, stood and tried to excuse myself, but he grabbed my arm and wouldn't let go. Give that to me or I'll fucking break it, Novogratz yelled, grabbing my phone, which was then filled with damning evidence. His eyes were bloodshot and his neck veins were bulging. The song on stage was now over, and a number of prominent Kappas had rushed over to our table. Before the situation could escalate dangerously, a bond investor and former Grand Swipes named Alexandra Lebenthal stepped in between us. Wilbur Ross quickly followed, and the two of them led me out into the lobby, past a throng of Wall Street tycoons, some of whom seemed to be hyperventilating. Once we made it to the lobby, Ross and Lebenthal reassured me that what I'd just seen wasn't really a group of wealthy and powerful financiers making homophobic jokes, making light of the financial crisis, and bragging about their business conquests at Main Street expense. No, it was just a group of friends who came together to roast each other in a benign, self-depreciating manner. Nothing to see here. But the extent of their worry wasn't made clear until Ross himself offered him as a source for future stories in exchange. He says, I'll pick up my phone any time. Get you any help you need, he said. Yeah, the people in this group could be very helpful, he chimed in, if you could just keep their privacy in mind. And so there's more to the story here, but pretty interesting indeed. So I just thought you'd find it interesting, what money does to people when they just get so greedy and consumed by it. That's what happens. You get crazy situations, and it's nuts. All right, and now, we hear all about censorship. Well, here's something. The FCC plans to police the newsrooms. The FCC has cooked up a plan to place researchers in U.S. newsrooms, supposedly to learn all about the editorial decisions are made. Any questions as to why the U.S. is failing in the free press rankings? As if illegal seizures of Associated Press phone records and the shadowy tailing of the mother of a Fox News reporter weren't menacing enough, the Obama administration is going out of its way to institute a new intrusive surveillance of the press, as if the press wasn't supine enough. Ajit Pai, a commissioner with the Federal Communication Commission, warned this week in a Wall Street Journal op-ed that the plan to dispatch researchers into radio, television, even newspaper rooms, called the multi-market study of critical information needs is still going forward despite the grave danger that it presents to the First Amendment. Well, we'll just leave it there. Strange, strange. So you could see what's going on out there. Now, the purpose is not to scare you. The purpose is just to kind of let you know and just to confirm what it is you do know. News is being manipulated. And as news is going out and news agencies are telling stories that are speaking out against the administration, they don't like it very much. The dictator doesn't like when he's being talked about, so they're going to make sure that people go to don't say anything. Now, anybody that voted for this man and still thinks that this behavior is normal, well, I'd like to know what normal is in their lives, because this is very, very bizarre behavior. But we could see and we understand that this behavior is going on because they're cracking up. Okay? Things are just falling apart. We got Wall Street people just going out of their minds. We got a president who's out of control. We have a Congress who's out of touch. We've just got all kind of problems. It's the only solution that we have. And it's the best solution. It's a spiritual solution. We go inside. Okay? This is continuing on here with this esoteric science. This is enlightenment. 3 aspects of the mind. The center of the energy, the upper brain. The center of the energy through which the soul works is in the upper brain. During meditation, if effective, energy from the soul pours into the brain and has a definite effect upon the nervous system. If, however, the mind is not controlled and the emotional nature dominates, the effect makes itself felt primarily in the feeling apparatus, the emotional states of being, where the mind is the dominating factor. When the thought apparatus in the higher brain is swung into an organized activity, the man requires new capacity to think clearly, systematically, and potentially he discovers new realms of knowledge. 2. Second aspect is the pituitary body. In the region of the pituitary body, we have the seat of the lower faculties. When coordinated in the higher type of human being, here they are coordinated and synthesized, and here are to be found the emotions and more concrete aspects of the mind. When the personality, the sum total of the physical, emotional, and mental states, is of a high order, then the pituitary body functions with increased efficiency, and the vibration of the center of energy in its neighborhood becomes very powerful. When the personality is a low order, when the reactions are mainly instinctual and the mind is practically non-functioning, then the center of energy is in the neighborhood of the solar plexus, and the man is more animal in nature. Pineal gland. The center in the region of the pineal gland and the higher brain are brought into activity through learning to focus the attentive consciousness in the head. The withdrawal of the consciousness into the region of the pineal gland so that man's point of realization is centralized in the region between the middle and the forehead and the pineal gland. This means the development of the capacity to subjugate the outward-going tendencies of the 5 senses. So the aspirant is taught the right withdrawal of the consciousness, which is going outwards towards the world of phenomena, and must learn to center his consciousness in the great central station in the head, from whence energy can be consciously distributed as he participates in the great work, from whence he can make contact with the realm of the soul, and in which he can receive the messages and impressions which emanate from that realm. This is the definite stage of achievement, and not simply a symbolic way of expressing one pointed interest. The pros of enlightenment is brought about, 1. Through the subjugation of the lower nature, which transfers the activity of the life below the solar plexus and including the solar plexus into the 3 centers above the diaphragm, the head, heart, and throat. This is done through life, love, and service. 2. The practice of love and the focusing of the attention upon the heart, life of service. And 3. Through a knowledge of meditation, which is exemplification of the basic yoga aphorism, energy follows thought. All the unfoldments and developments which the aspirant desires are brought about. The high intellectual personality, with its focus of attention in the region of the pituitary body, begins to vibrate in unison with the higher center in the region of the pineal gland. Then a magnetic field is set up between the positive soul aspect and the waiting personality, which is rendered receptive by the process of focused attention. Then the light, we are told, breaks forth, and we have enlightenment and the appearance of the phenomenal light in the head. All this is the result of a disciplined life and the focusing of the consciousness in the head. This is, in turn, brought about through the attempt to be concentrated in the daily life and also through definite concentration exercises. These are followed by an effort to meditate, and later, much later, the power to contemplate makes itself felt. Patanjali said, when the means to yoga have been steadily practiced, and when impurity has been overcome, enlightenment takes place, leading to full illumination. The light in the head, which is the first spark, is fanned to a flame which illuminates all things and is fed constantly from above. This is progressive and is dependent upon steadfast practice, meditation, and earnest service. The gradually increasing downpour of fiery energy increases steadily the light in the head, or the effulgence found in the brain in the neighborhood of the pineal gland. This is the little system of the threefold man in the physical manifestation, with the physical sun in the solar system. The light becomes steadily blaze of glory, and the man becomes a son of light, or a son of righteousness. Such were the Buddha, the Christ, and the great ones who have attained full illumination. All right, so it's a nice little article there for you to go over again and read and just understand. And this is the whole purpose, for us to become enlightened, to allow that light inside of ourselves. That's why we look at these materials. That's why we do the meditations and the practices. It's all about making ourselves a little bit more in touch, getting more in touch with who we are, what we're about. Now, one esoteric science that's really good for this and has been used is the I Ching. It's been used for a long, long time. So here we have, it's called the Book of Changes. And these are two introductions. I'm going to read the introduction here from Richard O. Wilhelm. The Book of Changes, I Ching in Chinese, is unquestionably one of the most important books in the world's literature. Its origin goes back to mythical antiquity and has occupied the attention of the most eminent scholars of China down to the present day. Nearly all that is greatest and most significant in 3,000 years of Chinese cultural history has either taken its inspiration from this book or has exerted an influence on the interpretation of its text. Therefore, it may safely be said that the seasoned wisdom of thousands of years has gone into the making of the I Ching. Small wonder that both of these two branches of Chinese philosophy, Confucianism and Taoism, have their common roots here. The book sheds new light on many a secret hidden in the often puzzling modes of thought of that mysterious sage, Lao Tse, of his pupils, as well as the many ideas that appear in the Confucian tradition as axioms accepted without further examination. Indeed, not only the philosophy of China, but its science and starcraft as well have never ceased to draw from the spring of wisdom in the I Ching, and it's not surprising that this alone, among all Confucian classes, escaped the great burning of the books under Qin Shuang Hong Ti. Even the commonplaces of everyday life in China are saturated with its influence. In going through the streets of a Chinese city, one will find here and there at a street corner a fortune-teller sitting behind a neatly covered table, brush and tablet at hand, ready to draw from the ancient book of wisdom pertinent counsel and information on life's minor perplexities. Not only that, but the very signboards adorning the houses, perpendicular wooden panels done in gold and black lacquer, are covered in inscriptions whose flowery language again and again recalls thoughts and quotations from the I Ching. Even the policymakers of so modern a state as Japan, distinguished for their astuteness, do not scorn to refer to it for counsel in difficult situations. In the course of time, owning a great repute for the wisdom of its teachings in the Book of Changes, a large body of occult doctrines extraneous to it, some of them possibly not even Chinese in origin, have come to be connected with its teachings. The Qin and Han dynasties saw the beginning of a formalistic natural philosophy that sought to embrace the entire world of thought in a system of number symbols. Combining a rigorous, consistent, dualistic yin-yang doctrine with the doctrine of 5 stages of change taken from the Book of History, it forced Chinese philosophical thinking more and more into a rigid formalization. Thus, increasing, hair-splitting, Kabbalistic speculations came to envelop the Book of Changes in a cloud of mystery, and by forcing everything of the past and of the future into the systems of numbers, created for the I Ching the reputation of being a book of unfathomable profundity. These speculations are also to blame for the fact that the seeds of a free Chinese natural science, which undoubtedly existed at the time of Mo Ti and his pupils, were killed and replaced by a sterile tradition of writing and reading books that was wholly removed from the experience. This is the reason why China has for so long presented to the Western eyes a picture of hopeless stagnation. Yet we must not overlook the fact that apart from this mechanistic number mysticism, a living stream of deep human wisdom was constantly flowing through the channel of this book into everyday life, giving into China's great civilization the ripeness of wisdom distilled through the ages, which we wistfully admire in the remnants of the last truly autosynchronous culture. What is the Book of Changes actually? In order to arrive at an understanding of this book and its teachings, we must first of all boldly strip away the dense overgrowth of interpretations that have read into it all sorts of extraneous ideas. This is equally necessary when you are dealing with superstitions and mysteries of the old Chinese sorcerers and the no less superstitious theories of modern European scholars who try to interpret all historical cultures in terms of their experiences of primitive savages. We must hold here to the fundamental principle that the Book of Changes is to be explained in the light of its own content and of the era to which it belongs. With this, the darkness lightens perceptibly, and we realize that the book, though a very profound work, does not offer great difficulties to our understanding than any other book that has come down through a long history from antiquity to our time. And then you can see there's a lot more in there. But basically what you have is you have a number of symbols that are part of the I Ching. And you combine these. There's symbols. They're like 3. And then you combine them to make these 6. Let me back up here. It says, at the outset of the Book of Changes was a collection of linear signs to be used as oracles. In antiquity, oracles were everywhere in use. The oldest among them confined themselves to the answers yes or no. This type of oracular pronouncement is likewise the basis of the Book of Changes. Yes was indicated by the simple unbroken line, and no by the broken line. However, the need for greater differentiation seems to have been felt in an early date, and the single lines were combined in pairs. To each of these combinations, a third line was then added. In this way, the 8 trigrams came into being. These 8 trigrams were conceived as images of all that happens in heaven and on earth. At the same time, they were held in the state of a continual transition, one changing into another, just as transition from one phenomena to another is continuously taking place in the physical world. Here we have the fundamental concept of the Book of Changes. The 8 trigrams are symbols standing for changing, traditional states. They are images that are constantly undergoing change, attention centers, not in the things in their state of being, as is chiefly the state of the Occident, but upon the movement and change. The 8 trigrams therefore are not representations of things as such, but of their tendencies in movement. These 8 images came to have manifold meanings. They represented certain processes in nature, corresponding with your inherent character. Further, they represented a family consisting of a father, mother, 3 sons, and 3 daughters, not in the mythological sense, which is the Greek gods peopled Olympus, but in what might be called the abstract sense. That is, they represented not the objective entities, but functions. A brief survey of these 8 symbols is as follows. And here we go. Okay? Qin, Quan, Zhen, Kan, Kin, Sun, Li, Toi. All right. So I'm going to leave this for you to look at further. Perhaps next week we'll continue into it more. I also included with this, here's another site that's linked up there, so you can study further a little bit more about each of these hexagrams, what they mean, and so on. Okay? So there you go. That's the I Ching for today. Now, we all hear about the law of attraction. We want to attract things into our lives. That's what we're all trying to do, right? Here's an article. It's called Why the Law of Attraction Fails and How to Make It Work for You. Now, a lot of people ask these questions. Why are so many dreams shattered throughout the law of attraction? What would you manifest if you could wish for anything your heart desired? Have you considered how your life would change if you could manifest everything upon desire? While this premise sounds very desirable, one must consider the consequences, ramifications, and possible outcomes when using the law of attraction. We have all heard the saying, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Perhaps that statement is related to a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who once said, for everything you gain, you lose something else. What if? Imagine you had an opportunity to enter the fifth dimension, but you were not allowed to know who else would go with you, such as friends, family, children, etc. What if the decision you needed to make right now? What would you choose? For everything you gain, you lose something else. If you decided to go to fifth dimensional reality, chances are there will be loved ones who choose not to. Jim Carrey once stated, I hope everyone could get rich and famous and will have everything they ever dreamed of, so they will know that it's not the answer. The answer, as always, is found within you, and you need to accept whatever consequences are associated with your decisions. Unfortunately, we tend to focus on the things we want without realizing that part of us will be forever changed. Aleister Crowley is known for saying, do what thou wilt. In other words, our true will, our will express what we utmost desire, whether that be the good, the bad, or the ugly. Most of these thoughts are within the subconscious mind and tend to unknowingly manifest, such as a lack of abundance, receiving more bills, etc. Even if you occasionally use mantras or affirmations, what you ultimately believe is what you will manifest. For example, if you ultimately say an affirmation for abundance, but your consciousness and subconscious mind is still focusing on the lack of abundance, this is what you will attract. In this case, you are gaining what you desire and losing that which is not gaining your full attention. This is why the law of attraction fails for most people. Through the mainstream media, commercials, and everyday life, our minds have been conditioned to live in fear or lack of abundance. These thoughts and feelings will also interact with our everyday lives and will also lay dormant in the subconscious mind, thus reinforcing whatever fears or lack of abundance that we are currently experiencing. The key in overcoming this is through constant positive affirmations, conditioning and firmly believing in your affirmations, more than any lingering doubts or fears that may be currently experiencing. For most people, this seems like a daunting task. It will also take a strong mind to overcome any given obstacles. A simple way of using affirmations to write down 10 times every day. You also want to write either them down again before you go to sleep, perhaps say them aloud at this time until your desire manifests. More importantly, believe in your affirmation more than anything else. The easy way out is to say the law of attraction doesn't work or the law of attraction is new age bullshit. But there are thousands of people who can attest that the law of attraction does work, including this author, because the law of attraction would not exist. Your mind, because without the law of attraction, this website in 5D would not exist. Your mind and thoughts and much more are much more powerful than you could possibly imagine. This is why it is so important to hang out with like-minded people while refraining from watching television. In both cases, what is your mind preoccupied with when you associate with people who don't get it, or when you are watching television? For most people, it's probably frustration with those who don't get it and unconscious programming of the mind when watching TV. How are these thoughts reinforcing your conscious mind, subconscious mind? Believe in yourself and start manifesting the life you want. Okay? So it's a very good point there. You know, we all have things we're trying to manifest. Sometimes they come quicker, sometimes not. And we just need to keep on keeping on. Keep doing what we need to make it all happen. All right. Here's a message today. This is Hilarion. Message for today.
Hilarion.
By Marlene Swetleshoff, February 16th to 23rd, 2014.
Beloved ones, as the lunar energies bring in added clarity and the greater ability to give love and be love in all its many wondrous facets, remember that you are the ones who have ability to receive and transmit the light that falls down upon the earth. Even in the midst of challenges, you can transmute the situation by using the energy and vibration of love, for love is the greatest and most powerful force in existence. Each time that you do this, another avenue for the light is established on the earth. Kindness given in any instance is always met with an equivalent benevolent response. To those who are attuned to the higher frequencies, this immutable law of love is easily identified, observable and in constant operation. It is becoming easier to continue the process of refinement within one's own character. As each person looks within themselves to those areas that need transmutation, in the way they are expressed, and recognize the patterns that now need to be changed, in order for their higher aspects to be more fully integrated, and aligns themselves to this purpose, the way forward opens and greater revelations of their blind spots are revealed. This helps in the process of elimination of all that has hindered one's progress to become a fully realized divine human walking here on earth. All ways of being that have been assimilated throughout one's lifetime and held in the subconscious mind can now be exposed to the light of truth, recognized as an area that needs change, and consciously make the adjustments necessary. As each person takes full responsibility for their lives as they have been lived here on earth and recognizes their inherent power to change what is no longer working for them, life becomes more simplified. A person knows themselves more fully and honors those unique qualities, their own likes and dislikes, rather than those whom society has instilled within them, and they can move unfettered into being who they really are as soul. They can honor their own truths and live according to their own precepts, and this liberates each one to express those higher qualities that have always been a part of them without being held back because they fear someone in their acquaintance may not approve. Life then is lived in greater ease and grace, and the element of joy and harmony within manifests with more frequency. Being true to oneself opens the doorway to greater and greater possibilities that may have lain hidden before. Each person has a treasure box that lies within them, waiting for these moments to be discovered and brought out into conscious awareness, acknowledgement, and expansion. Each day becomes an adventure as the hidden and wonderful aspects of one's being come to the surface to be fully looked at and assimilated. As each person honors these aspects of their own being, they become free to express these qualities in all their interactions with others, and this in turn has a liberating effect upon those around them. By observation, those around them give themselves permission to be all that they can be and start implementing their own choices and changes so that they too can be true to themselves. As each person loves themselves more fully and with daily consciousness, gives themselves what they truly need, a greater degree of harmony and happiness, ease and grace flows through them into all areas of their lives. Life becomes more joyous in all of its aspects, and each person blossoms into the greater possibilities of themselves. As the wounds from the past are healed and each person has regained wholeness within, the earth is also liberated to move further into her own wholeness. When the human collective expresses love in action on a daily basis, there is no limit to the heights of achievement that can take place within society's structures. Until next week, I am Hilarion.
Alright, very good. Nice message. So that takes us to our meditation for today. So close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Alright, just allow your mind to contemplate the affirmations for today. First from the Agape. This is the affirmation for the week of February 16th. Contemplate these words. God's will for my life releases me and sets me free. I'm a grounding point for miraculous energy to express. My life is an adventure in spiritual growth and unfoldment. I am filled to overflowing with the good of God. High thoughts of health and beauty manifest as my body temple. Gratitude and appreciation light my path and show the way. And so it is. Amen. And further contemplate this affirmation. I acknowledged that the only constant in life is change, and I am prepared for it. I acknowledge that the only constant in life is change, and I am prepared for it. Take another deep breath and exhale. Imagine yourself changing in positive ways throughout life. Imagine yourself changing from one state to the next, evolving as you go. Imagine your life filled with abundance. and that all fears and doubts and lack of abundance is just dissipated. Imagine abundance coming into your life from all sources, always. And know that this abundance is a natural state of being. Not only is this abundance available for each one of us, but for everyone in the world. Let's imagine abundance being poured upon the world for all to share, to enjoy. Let's imagine with this abundance comes love, as we realize the abundance of love that is available on this planet. And we allow that love to shine bright, and as the love shines bright and goes around the planet over and over and over, it cleanses the planet of the fears and the doubts and the hatreds and the angers. Love gets into people's consciousness, and change takes place. It makes them realize the error of their ways, that they might come correct, do the right thing. So let's imagine ourselves filled with this spirit of consciousness, that we all walk the path doing the right thing. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, now and forever. Just think a good thought for the world. Let your subconscious mind continue on that journey, sending out good vibes, and let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment, happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's it for today. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate that you take the time every day to check out the show. Appreciate that you take time out to drop me a note, send me a message, comment, whatever. It's much appreciated, so thank you very much. I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.